So we trying to figure out with this T.Y. Hilton thing going down. The injury, still don't know how long he's going to be out. Pretty sure it might be out by the time this video uploads, but I'm pretty sure the Colts are going to move Michael Pittman Jr. to wide receiver 1. Now, this is a good thing to see. There's some good and bad that you can look at from it. Pros and cons. But one of the things is that, he was going to emerge to this role eventually anyway. But I think Colts fans are going to be super excited to see him flourish next year at that spot because we know how good Michael Pittman Jr. is and how high of a ceiling he has production-wise as well. Fitting into this new system, especially when he gets his QB1 and Carson Wentz back. And now, Easton's a gunslinger, so if we have to see him early, he's going to throw the football up there anyway, so I'm pretty sure he's going to get him involved a lot. Being as though the ability of Michael Pittman Jr. possesses, he's one of those guys that you can pretty much plug in at any spot on the field and get the job done. So having him out there is going to be a huge bonus to any quarterback that's behind the pocket. Another thing to look forward to is the offensive line protection. Once we get that back, it's just going to make the field even more open because it's going to give the quarterback time to be comfortable in that pocket. It's going to be a little shaky at the beginning. I know that because the whole line isn't there, especially with this IR and everything. This craziness is currently going on, but Michael Pittman Jr. should be the number 1 wide receiver. He should be moving into that soon, or probably already there already. So I know he's going to get ready for a big year. The fact that T.Y. Hilton's gone, it's just going to give him more snaps and others. Now I know Colts Twitter, when the news broke about T.Y. Hilton, a lot of people, and I mean a lot, were talking about Mike Strawn. There were a lot of people was talking about him getting the role and Pittman getting more involved in there, all these things. But I find it funny that a lot of people, when they talk about Mike Strawn and all these other receivers getting moved up, to make the roster and all these things, most people forgot about Paris Campbell. I found that to be odd because a lot of Colts fans are looking forward to seeing Paris Campbell return. And when T.Y. goes down, everybody wants Mike Strawn to make the roster. But, I mean, he's going to make the roster, but he's going to be at the bottom of the poll. And Paris Campbell, I'm pretty sure, is probably going to get more reps, being as though this is pretty much his rookie year because he barely played last year. So I feel like Paris Campbell never really had a chance to go emerge. And I think next year with, T.Y. Hilton being gone, we can plug him into way more schemes. He's quick, he got hands, and he's good at route running. Just like Michael Pittman Jr., he's good as well, but Paris Campbell's more athletic and more electric. So I know he's probably going to be used a little bit more than anyone else. Ashton Dullin's nice, special teams guy. Pittman and Strawn is probably not going to really see the field like that, especially with the formations we're probably going to be running. It's going to be some crazy loadouts, but Granson, Marley Cox will be used more as well with T.Y.'s departure. Running the football will be very pivotal as well. We know how good T.Y. is, but a lot of people, think that with T.Y., if he was healthy and everything, a lot of people thought, it'll like slow down the offense or maybe not push the pace really. But T.Y. still requires a double team, no matter how old or injured or, how less of a use he might be. But when T.Y.'s on the field, you're going to have to double team him regardless because he's just that good. T.Y. at the end of the year started to turn up before the playoffs, and he literally was showing you that, with everything that was going on with the Colts last season with Phillip Rivers, not having OTAs and training camp, so we really couldn't really figure out the plays like we're going to have this year. I feel like that played a big role, and you kind of noticed that at the end of the year when the Colts really started hitting their stride before the playoff games against the Bills. The offense really started kicking it up, and that played a big part. Now going into next season, T.Y. Hilton, he's been in the camps and practices and everything. Of course, you hear all the other names that's going off, but T.Y.'s a vet. He's not really required. He's not really needed to go out there and maybe risk an injury or anything. And of course, he got hurt, so you might use that. But T.Y. Hilton doesn't really need the training camps and everything because his spot's already solidified. The dude's a beast when he is on the field, so he wasn't really required to participate in all these camps and everything. Of course, he ran his routes, he did his little drills and everything, but the ball was barely thrown to him. So T.Y. Hilton, his spot was already solidified, so that was no issue. But Michael Pittman Jr., this is going to be a big test for him next year. I think he's going to do well at wide receiver 1. Like I said, we still have a bunch of wide receivers in Pascal and Campbell and all these guys, and even the tight ends and running back. We got Naheem Hines as well. that can be a really big thing for Michael Pittman Jr. He should really emerge next year. One of the cons is he's going to be going against a lot of good defenders. Next year is a lot of good top talent corners and safeties he's going to be going up against. And he never really had that type of, that type of bump. You know what I mean? Some of that activity that he's used to. Now, of course, he's not saying he's going to, shadow away from it. But, going to get some top corners can really mold you to being how good you really should be. So he's not going to be perfect every game. He's going to struggle a few times, I'm pretty sure. But I think his ability to catch the football and run the routes and the play design is really going to make him flourish to be where he really wants to be. And I think he really showed that last year going up against the Packers. Him scoring his first touchdown and everything, the way they plugged him into that scheme, going against them guys, I think it'll really help him going into next year. Especially having Paris Campbell is definitely going to help him as well, because he can really take some of the pressure off of Michael Pittman Jr. just due to how good he really is. So we're looking forward to that for sure. Another guy, Nyheim Hines. A lot of people wanted to see him more involved. A lot of people wanted him at wide receiver. Colts fans wanted him at wide receiver next year. And like I said about the Carson Wentz situation when he got hurt, a lot of Colts fans wanted to see Jacob Eason start. And Carson Wentz goes down with an injury. And now we have a chance to see Jacob Eason a quarterback. A lot of people wanted to see Nyheim Hines line up more at wide receiver because he's just that good. And now T.Y. Hilton goes down, so he's probably going to be a higher odd to seeing him at that position. Now, Nyheim Hines is good enough to do so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Nyheim Hines is quick enough. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be on some of those screen plays, those wide receiver screens or that nature, or them short slants across the middle of the field, or the wide receiver wraps, or those toss plays of that nature when they're motioning from one side of the field to the other, like Doolin did against the Ravens last year. Those type of play designs. But Coach Frank Reich has a very deep playbook. So I'm pretty sure he's going to get all the targets involved when necessary. It just comes down to certain game plans, like on third down or fourth down going forward. Those are the play calls that really concerns me. But the first and second down plays, the second and longs or the first and longs, I don't have an issue with. I do have an issue with the long plays. I take that back. But the first and fives or the second and tens, those plays don't really concern me when it comes to Frank Reich. The third down plays and going for it on fourth, those designs concern me. But other than that, I love his playbook. He has one of the best out there. It's so creative. And I feel like he hasn't even tapped into his deepest element of playbooks due to the last quarterback situation we had with Rivers. He wasn't mobile enough. So, we couldn't really move around in the pocket or be mobile on the play action plays of that nature. Phillip Rivers did a very good job for what he had, what he was capable of with the lack of mobility and the lack of arm strength. But adding a guy like Jacob Eason or Carson Wentz, or maybe even a Sam Ehlinger when he returns, I feel like we can have a good chance as long as that offensive line is healthy. So you guys let me know your thoughts about Michael Pittman Jr. going to the wide receiver 1 role. Let me know your thoughts about the offense going into next season and how you think it's all going to play out until T.Y. Hilton returns. Check out all the links in the description. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.